Hello, welcome back to LIVENODING. In this episode, I will be showing you how to create a setup where you can stack objects, no matter how many objects you want to stack and what kind of randomness you add. The distance between the objects, this is going to be correct, and there will not be overlapping. So let's get started. So I'm gonna start from scratch, and I'm gonna show you the process, which is more interesting, I guess, than showing you the final result. So SV stacking object. So I will be stacking maybe a cylinder in this case. There are multiple ways to do this, but this is one way. So I'm gonna start with a random number. For the random numbers, I will use integer for now. The way you can show it, you can use a stethoscope and look at the numbers. So that's all the random numbers. That's gonna be like the distance between the objects. There's actually something new with the latest SphereChalk. There's a viewer 2D where you can just input a number or a vector and it's gonna display the result. This one is pretty cool. So it's gonna visualize this graph. So yeah, let's use this number and stack a bunch of objects. So this is the problem of accumulations. So you have a numbers, let's say 8, and you have another number and you want to add into it. So the number will grow and accumulate over time. So because that's how you stack objects. So I will be using a line also to visualize this, or rather maybe vector in. Line is actually an interesting one. There's actually step. Step is kind of accumulating as well. So if I put in a step, which is all this number, and I'm visualizing it using this viewer draw, you will see the line. If I make it going in the z-axis, it's gonna do the job for us. Okay, so that's the line, and probably we are kind of on the way there. So if we have like a cylinder, and if we create a cylinder and we want to have a different height of the cylinder, we simply can use this line to accumulate. And the cylinder by default is centered. Maybe if I turn it off, that's actually kind of solve our problem there very quickly. It's a weird thing that SphereChalk can do, right? Originally, I want to show you how to do this using the proper way to accumulate. So let's switch the random number into float. So now we have random number, which is a float, right? And this one, I'm using it as the height of the cylinder, and also I'm using it as the line. If we actually bake this, you can see the cylinder is already stacking on top of each other. They're not overlapping. They're really properly stacked. We can use random radius also. So this can actually go into the radius, right? So it's a pretty cool setup and pretty easy as well. Yeah, like I said, originally I want to show you, like in the past I made this LIVENODING scripted node for random walk. Yeah, but we can use the same setup here with a script node to accumulate number. So I'm going to show you this as well. Scripted. So this scripted node live or SML, I can just pass in this script, simple script. Yeah, alright, it's giving me error message, but basically if you pass in a vector number, which is I will accumulate in the z-axis, for example, the output of this is a vector with accumulating number. So if I use viewer 2D, I can display this path in this axis. You can see that the numbers accumulating. Yeah, I think that's kind of useful as well. So it's pretty cool that we can do that. But we have the solution here. This is one solution. So we have a stacking object. Actually, currently it's a cylinder, but you can reduce it. It's become like a box. So there's another way actually with this line. For example, you have line that's already accumulating. You can potentially break this into separate edges using polygon boom, and from those edges you can actually use a Baffle curve. So this is the stacking points. We can use a circle, for example, and just stack it this way. So we have something that's completely different. It's basically a Baffle curve where each one of the circle is different in size. It's very similar, the process. So let's make this 10 for now. This is random radius of the bevel, but this one is actually generating each part of it's kind of breaking down the line and turning it into a cylinder, and we can turn on the cap start and cap end, so it's become like a cylinder, pretty much the same, except that we are actually doing it as geometry, and slightly we have actually more control depending on what you're doing on the resolution of each cylinder or each object rather. In fact, you can actually randomize this as well. So this is gonna be random cylinder and boxes stacking on top of each other, because we are doing it in the geometry, but they are all still kind of correct, except that the matrix, we are not dealing with the matrix. We are really kind of create the geometry itself, while up here you can have the matrix transform of each object, so you keep that information. Just a slightly different way to deal with it. Polygon boom, Baffle curve. This is a cylinder where you have accumulating vector. Perhaps I should separate it and keep both solutions. So this is the line, this is a cylinder. Yeah, I think they both equally useful. Normally I keep this matrix separate so we can kind of move objects to the side. So I think this is cleaner, much better. So this one have 11 matrix. That's this one actually might have over. So line have points, and the last points is an extra box there that we should actually get rid of that one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, there are two solutions here that I give you if you wanna need to stack objects like this. Maybe you have a book as well that you stack it, put it side by side, and you want it to touching each other but not overlapping. What else? It could also be like a bead. You know, this is slightly more complex. You have bead here with a different size, and you wanna put it side by side but not overlapping. This is a similar problem that you can solve. But with the bead, of course, it's a sphere, spherical radius. You need to think about the diameters, the distance between, and yeah, maybe this is for the next video. But anyway, this is two solutions for stacking objects. Hopefully you find this useful. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.